Man, so somebody brought this old Joe Rogan clip to my attention, and I did not remember this particular clip. This had to be, it was during Trump's first term, right? So maybe 2017, maybe 2018, thereabouts, I'd say. He's talking to Duncan Trussell, his comedian podcaster buddy. Duncan is very hippie-ish, more left-wing than most of his edgy comedian friends. And God, I forgot this part of Rogan. I mean, I knew that according to him, his values were more on the left. Talked about universal health care, free college, things of that nature. But this is even, this is libbing out or leftying out on the issue of immigration during Trump's first term. So sit back and relax and ask yourself, what the hell happened to this guy? Ready? Watch this.
About this immigrant issue, and they either don't have kids or they don't think it could happen to their kids. Their idea is, hey, shouldn't have fucking come over here. You get those kind of people. Broke the law. Shouldn't have fucking come over here if you could. You didn't want to get your kids separated. If you were in the presence of a woman who came over here from Guatemala and she's poor and she's starving and they're taking her baby away and she's wailing and screaming from a primal place in her DNA that the one thing she loves more than anything is being taken away. A baby.
Yeah.
If that doesn't freak you the fuck out, you're not a part of the team, man. You're missing it. You're missing it. What are we here for? We're here for 100 years of whatever. That's what we're here for. If you want to spend 100 years saying, hey, she shouldn't have fucking broke the law, I don't want you on the team. You're an asshole, right? And I don't give a fuck if you're right or left. I don't care if you're religious, or I don't care if you're an atheist. If that's what you support, you're an asshole. And we don't want you on our team. Okay? So, but if you agree with certain economic policies that I don't agree with, and we could have a discussion about it, we can figure out why you agree, and we can figure out why people are allowing all of this money to get into politics. Why are we allowing all these special interest groups and lobbyists to interfere with our laws and influence our politicians and create all this shit that we don't want? Well, here's the number one reason. You can't just vote online. You can't just vote. It's not one person, one vote.
I don't know where that part came from. Okay.
Right.
It's the Electoral College, and there's a lot of checks and balances that are in place. It's all wonderful and groovy, but it's not giving the trust to the people.
Right.
The trust to the people that they're informed, that they can make their own decisions, that more people should be able to make these decisions. But they're happening now. That 28-year-old girl who won in New York, 28-year-old.
That's
AOC he's talking about.
Democratic socialist. Whether I agree with her or not, I don't know if I do or don't. I bet I agree with her on a lot of things. I think education should be free. I think we should figure out a way. If we could pay for bombs, we could pay for schools. I think this idea that everybody should have health care, it's a great idea. Who the fuck wants people to not be healthy? Who wants people to be hurt and not be able to fix it? Are you really saying that struggling people should have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to get fixed when we could maybe chip in and help members of our team? That's stupid. Fill it up. Figure it out yourself. I had to. You got lucky, bitch. You got lucky you don't have leukemia. You didn't break both your legs when you were 18. Your parents are dead.
Right.
You got lucky, piece of shit. These are people on our team.
Right.
Because I'm not talking about people who are lazy, good-for-nothing losers, mooching off the system. You're going to have that too. Well, we got to figure out how to educate people so that happens less and less.
Do I even need to say anything? That rant on immigration, he ended up endorsing a guy who's calling for mass deportation of 10, 15, 20 million people. Texas now is saying, hey, Trump, we set aside 1,400 acres for you to build your concentration camps to deport all these people. Let's be clear about something too. 10, 15, 20 million people. The idea that they're all just criminals is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. We've seen the studies on this. Cato Institute, a right-wing think tank, did a study. Both documented immigrants and undocumented immigrants commit crime at a much lower rate than natural-born American citizens. Now, they'll start with the easy ones. They'll start with the low-hanging fruit. They'll start with this person has a felony conviction or whatever, right? They'll start with that. But then it's mission creep. Trump just came out the other day and said, we are going to deploy the military to do this. That's what we're going to do. That's what he said. He wants to do mass deportation. He was running on it very openly, very loudly, very directly. He said it in all of his rallies. Joe went from saying this shit to endorsing the mass deportation guy. Look, to be fair, I mean, I've seen over time now, there's a lot of people who were Rogan fans, did end up turning on him the more. It was a mission creep type thing. It was like, hey, just spouting mostly lefty opinions, and then over time it became a little more right-wing, then a little more right-wing, then a little more right-wing, and then, eventually it was totally hopping on the Trump train, endorsing Trump. But where'd this guy go? Hey, Duncan Trussell, you better get back into that Rogan podcast and talk to your boy, right? Duncan Trussell, help your man out here. Because I think Duncan being more on the left made it so Joe was more on the left, right? But when you're surrounded all day, every day by edgy right-leaning comedians who say edgy right-leaning shit, and you're surrounded by Dana White, who's a hardcore Republican, and that's the water you swim in, it becomes, the other perspective is just totally out of the picture now for him. Totally out of the picture. But this is one of the leftiest lefty rants I've ever heard. It doesn't get more lefty than this. I mean, he was literally making an argument against just deportations there, right? It wasn't even just the family separation shit. It was more wide-ranging than that. It was an overarching argument about like, hey, it's kind of fucked up to take somebody who's a good person who's just working hard and trying to get by and making the country better. It's kind of fucked up to just take that person and deport him. And he went on to endorse the mass deportation guy. So again, one more time, I know you guys have seen this one, but it really just puts everything into perspective. This is what Joe used to sound like.
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins.
She's good.
She's great. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education.
Take it easy.
Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of them. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. Obviously, this protected status is driving me crazy. This thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's
that kind of shit. And the hard right version of that is despicable. These people that I see online, why didn't they apply for citizenship? Oh, who knows? Maybe because they're fucking 13. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. You know Lonzo?
No, who's that?
A funny comedian.
Yeah.
He goes, not all Donald Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Donald Trump supporters.
He definitely awakened that side.
But the January 6th thing is important.
See, it is important, but is it the 6 months later? It should be the ruling number one conversation of journalists?
I think it's really important. And one of the reasons why I think it's important because it highlights the reasons why a guy like Donald Trump is so fucking dangerous. Is because a guy can incite a bunch of morons to do something really fucking stupid. As far as trans people, some trans people listening to this, I got nothing but love for you. For everybody. And in fact, Eddie Izzard is one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, I love Izzard.
The right-wing thing is just an easy way to dismiss me because I'm not right-wing. I can't recommend your book, Race Matters, enough.
The people who were criticizing Joe as being right-wing were correct. They were right. They were right. You say all this, then you endorse the guy who believes in the opposite. You endorse the guy who massively cut taxes for the wealthy, which, by the way, Joe's very wealthy, right? Joe's very wealthy. But Trump's the guy who lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs on his watch. He presided over a loss of 2.9 million jobs. 3 million people lost their health insurance under Trump. 50 million gained it under Democrats. He appointed more billionaires and Wall Street CEOs than any president in history. He filled the NLRB with union busters, who of course went on to screw workers. His labor department stiffed 8 million workers of overtime pay. You guys all know the pro-war stuff, increasing drone strikes over 400%, bombing Syria twice, bombing Somalia, trying to coup Venezuela, ripping up the Iran agreement. So he endorsed the guy who represents the opposite of every single thing you just heard him say here. So I'll ask you guys, what's your theory, right? What the hell happened? What happened to this guy? What happened? I mean, from the other day, what we learned is the COVID thing really did sort of break his brain. All the COVID stuff, the media shitting on him. He really, at that moment, he really sort of cocooned himself more in a right-wing echo chamber to people who would defend him and just ended up going hard right and pro-Trump, you know? So I think the COVID thing was a big part of it. And I think being in that echo chamber where everybody around him agrees on Trump being good, wore him down over a while. Wore him down. But suffice to say, this dude is long gone now. Holy shit, is he long gone? Because you literally can't claim, I believe in these things, but then also support Trump. Because Trump very clearly his record and the stuff he says he wants to do is all totally separate values, totally different values. It's the polar opposite. In fact, Joe had on somebody who was like giddy and laughing and giggling over the fact that Trump wants to declare war on the drug cartels, start a war with Mexico. And Rogan was sitting there and vibing with the conversation and giggling himself and joking around and saying, oh, shit's going to get wild soon with Trump in office, right? So in other words, Trump's position is, let's massively increase the drug war. Let's double down on it. Let's triple down on it. Let's make the drug war more violent. Joe Rogan of just a year ago or 2 years ago, he would have said, this is the exact wrong approach. You should legalize, tax, and regulate drugs. You should get rid of all these drugs being on the black market, because with it being on the black market, that's where you get the gangsters, that's where you get the thugs, that's where you get the cartels, that's where you get the increase in crime, that's where you get the tainted substances. If you legalize, tax, and regulate, you take away their monopoly, and we're good. But instead, he endorsed Trump. Trump's talking about increasing the drug war, make a literal hot war with Mexico, and he all of a sudden, he's got no objection to it. He's got no objection. So even his most deeply held beliefs, effectively backing off of it because he endorsed Trump. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. It's shameful. But hey, to all the people who are former Joe Rogan fans, who after a while had enough, you're more than welcome here, bro. I don't do a show exactly like he does a show. Obviously, it's a little more newsy. It's one-on-one type stuff for the most part, but you're welcome here because I get it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.